Viewers, welcome to our WAPADELA live show, which has been brought to you today by Timvele in Multipurpose Zambia, and in conjunction with our favorite TV station, Litovia. I am your presenter for today, and the host, Brian Kachiza, and also proudly deaf, being assisted by the sign language interpreter, Blessing Sokauta. The program, viewers, it's an important program that highlights the success and the challenges, struggles faced by persons with disabilities and people without disabilities, fostering a space where everyone's story is heard and valued. So by encouraging dialogue, break down barriers, and promoting equal opportunities, it also helps to bridge the divide between these communities, between the persons with disabilities and people without disabilities. In doing so, it supports the global goal of SDG number 10. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, so my name is Moses Soko, yeah, which is spelled like that. Yeah. And I'm coming from, I'm the executive director for Zambia Deaf Society. Yeah. So we are actually found in town at Indeco House. That's where our offices are at Zambia Deaf Society. And me myself, I'm proudly deaf. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please feel free to participate on our program and also to discuss nice with us. Now, Mr. Soko, can you share your background and experience related to deaf culture? Yeah, and experience related to deaf culture and accessibility. Thank you so much. So first, to start with, my background is so huge, and it can start from, if I'm to start from A to Z-ish, we can't finish it. So I'll cut and I'll pick just something so short, yeah, to summarize it. So like I said, Moses Soko, and I was born in Chaisa, yeah, Chaisa compound, within Lusaka, of course. Yeah, so myself, I was born hearing. I wasn't born deaf, and I was raised by my grandmother, who raised me. Yeah. Then, when my grandmother passed on, that was when I was about 9 years old. Yeah. Yeah, and that was, I think, I was in somewhere grade 1. Yeah. So that's when I got sick. And that was somewhere in 1992. Yeah. So I became deaf. And from that time, I've never gone to deaf school. Yeah. Because from there, I just started learning sign language. And in 2004, the deaf people, I started mingling with the deaf people, where a lot of deaf people, they could find me, you know, I could use those natural signs. Yeah, and when a lot of people, we were so young, and to see how we use that indigenous language, so a lot were so interested until they dragged me, got me, and I started now learning sign language. And that was 2004. Until now, since then, I've been learning more in depth about sign language. Yeah. So again, when it comes to being the deaf culture, which you've talked of, from the time I started learning sign language until date, my life, I've seen a lot of deaf culture. Deaf culture has got, the deaf have got a big culture, and this culture, it's different from the culture of the people without deaf. Yeah. How is it different? It's different in this way. For instance, the hearing culture, yeah, people without deaf, they are able to speak. Yeah, that is their culture. And the deaf culture, they can't speak. They use body movement, and that is also the hand movements and giving the symbols. And that is our culture also of using signs. Sometimes the deaf uses also the eye contact. Sometimes when people will think when you become deaf, meaning you can't move somewhere far, or maybe you can't drive, you cause an accident. But looking at God is very intelligent in a way that we have another sense that he adds in us when you become deaf. And that sense makes us to be so active, and that's what makes us our culture also to be different, because our eyes become so sharp. Yeah. Even the breathing, when someone, I'm using my hands, that is also our culture. And at times we also use the breathing. Now in community, where sign language is being learned, we teach people to use sign language. At the same time, we teach them also about the culture. So it's very important that they also understand the culture. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we feel so proud of you, Mr. Soko, and God is very great. Yeah. So now, from your personal experience, I've seen you've been signing so well, and you've got much experience in signing. Yeah. I want to ask you, yeah, who motivated you, and where did you get your motivation to start advocating for deaf accessibility? Yeah, so I have a friend, James Kapembwa. Yeah, James Kapembwa, who is the director of Zambia National Association of the Deaf, ZINAD. And I also have Morgan. Yeah, Mr. Morgan. These two, they have really motivated me a lot and made me to become an advocate who I am today. Yeah. Wow. No, thank you so much for that. Yeah. Have you ever faced challenges and difficulties in accessing, let's say, deaf information, different information, so to say? Yeah, so to me, not much, yeah, somehow I can say. But as an advocate who I am, I see a lot of the deaf people facing challenges, huge challenges, so to say. Yeah. To me, myself, yes, but challenges are there. Why? Because me, I'm able to talk a bit. I can talk a bit. And many times when I am with other people, I don't use, out there, I don't use the sign language to those who don't know sign language. I would voice out with my voice a bit. And yeah, sometimes maybe if you find someone who is so difficult to catch the way I read, I use the reading also, and for me to understand. So again, that is the challenge which I cannot say it's not very much. But the other challenge is reading and writing. Me, I know how to read, so I can write on a piece of paper and I communicate. If that is the person I've met, doesn't know sign language. But a lot of deaf, they find challenges. Because remember that in deaf, there are hard of hearing communities. So we have about 4 degrees of deafness. So deaf people, so to say, yeah. So number 1 is what we call profound deafness. That is like a congenital, someone was born to be deaf before they acquired another language. And then there is where another level, which is postlingual, where one had already learned sign language and then becomes deaf. Another degree is of becoming severely. And then the other type is of deaf blind. And also we have what we call hard of hearing. Yeah, so deaf people who are born deaf, congenital deaf, with the congenital deaf, these are the people who find much challenges, and these they will depend only on sign language, and the way they sign it, it's different. It's not an easy way. So they can go to this group school, they'll start maybe grade 1 until they complete, go to college, but the way they sign it, it's different, and they depend only in sign language. For example, like you yourself, if maybe you are born deaf, you start school from grade 1 until grade 12, you go to college or university, you pass well, and you even have an employment in government, where you'll be working in government, maybe as a teacher, or maybe as an engineer, yeah, or maybe a secretary. But now, the English which a lot have been writing, it's different syntax, as if it's someone who is grade 1, or maybe someone who is in grade, hasn't started yet school. Why? It's because that is the deaf culture we have. And many people, when they see the way we write like that, they'll laugh. They will laugh because that is the culture for sign language. So we started from school, and that is how we know it. So we can't say no, change it, that is our deaf culture, and that becomes a challenge in terms of accessibility. When you go to the hospitals, nurses, they would prefer to write on a piece of paper. But the way they are writing it, their English is so accurate, syntax, which us, we cannot really understand. Because, for example, when greeting, us, we just say, how you see? But you say, how are you? And which is so better to us to understand that kind of English. Like you ask someone, where do you stay? But us in sign language will be like, home, where? You look at that. Huh? And the people, when they write like that with the deaf people, when others who are reading, they'll think you are dumb, you are dull, so to say. And they'll think you are not someone educated, but forgetting that that is our language and our culture. So those are some of the barriers that will be findings where some would prefer us to write. And we fail to communicate well. So becoming deaf, those who became maybe after hearing then became deaf, yeah, those, at least, for example, me, myself, look at the way I'm signing. When I go out there, I meet someone who here, I'll speak exactly like the way, because me, I live in two cultures, of the hearing and of the deaf. So the way I write and the way I sign it to be different from that person who was born deaf. And then we have this other one, which is deaf blind, where someone is born deaf at the same time born blind. So, those have challenges, but those who are they are okay, and then after growing because of sickness or anything, they become deaf and blind at the same. It's easier. Now we have these technologies which helps a lot. For so many years, the deaf and the blind now in Zambia is going to be well recognized, so to say. And because of this technology, we have identified, and it's becoming like part of our culture also. So we, the deaf people, or persons with disability, we love the phone very much. That's why you ever find a deaf person who will be on the phone. Others could even sleep. Even when you are in the toilet or restrooms, in church you are not paying attention, you're just on the phone. Why? Because that's where now we have it. And now, even those children who use phone throughout like that, in future I find that they will tend to have also issues with their eyes. So disability issues, it starts at any time. So that's why we always encourage someone to do some exercises, because that promotes the disabilities. Thank you so much. I understand you more, and I want to, you yourself, you are deaf. Yeah. Now, how do you feel when you go to, let's say, the hospitals, schools, you see there is sign language interpreter? How do you feel? How does it make you feel? Yeah, that's a very funny question. Huh? Yeah, thank you. Me, myself, individual, I don't support that. I don't support that. You know, interpreters, yes, they can be there in the hospitals, but there's a matter of confidentiality. You can't share the information to a third person or a third party. So me, let's say I have STIs. I have those STIs, you know, I don't know. Now, I want to communicate to the doctor, and then here is my interpreter. Or maybe you as a doctor, you tell this interpreter to say, explain to Moses Soko that he's got the blisters as STIs. And then, who is the first person to hear the information? It will be him, the interpreter. And then me, who is the patient, I become more like a third person to hear the information at last. So, even when they say undress, they will tell the interpreter, tell him to undress so that we see. So that is not really beautiful and good at all. So to me, what I think is that it's very important we let our health workers learn basic sign language communication. Yeah, to defend and protect us, the deaf human rights. Yeah, so one right, it's our rights, and we have access, rights to accessibility and access good health care services. Yeah, so without any interference. So if maybe there is an interpreter, if it's very difficult, it will be difficult for me to express myself completely. Yeah, because the way we feel, if we tell others, maybe this one might also share information with someone else. So we are human issues, and we don't need a middle person to help us. So sign language interpreter, to me, I don't feel it good when it comes to health. So we want to know more, like let's say there's no sign language interpreter. Now you as a deaf person, and here is the doctor. Yeah, at the same time, let's say a lecturer who is there without sign language interpreter. How do you benefit from the services that being offered? Mm-hmm. So Brian, that's why I'm saying that I've been, this is a proposal for a long time. Yeah, from a long time proposal. Yeah, so where we start learning sign language, or sign language, it becomes like in the curriculum in schools. Yeah. Why? We want sign language to be in the parliament, to be amended in the parliament, it to become in the law, constitution, where everyone will start learning sign language from grade 1 until university. Yeah, so that in future, we can see that sign language can be everywhere. Yeah, so as doctors, nurses, yeah, they can start learning sign language, and maybe in future they can know how to, what we need, and to let us, and we force and make it in the curriculum, so that we start learning it and implementing it from grade 1 until someone complete school. So let's observe. It's a long-term process that we are doing.
Thank you very much for your explanation, Mr. Moses. So, like, according to the internet now, or like the videos that we are, so like, what role do you think technology such as video relay services and commissioning plays in improving accessibility and education?
Okay, when it comes to technology, the videos, yeah, WhatsApp videos, let's say Zoom, those, okay, the technology, yeah, those have been so helpful. Yeah, very, very much helpful. To all of us, yeah, in all the stages for the deaf people, especially the congenital deaf. It's been so helpful. Yeah, because before, you know, I said when someone was born, like that is the time before they even became deaf, and that's why you find that their language, even the syntax, is so broken. So when communicating with this, many times it will be on a video call. Yeah. So when you're doing a video call, or even in a Zoom, you are greeting each other. Now, if me, let's say I'm in town and I promise you we meet somewhere, you know, we use a phone. Me, I'll know. I'll use the text and I'll tell all the direction. Oh, you go there, there. But it's very difficult. And maybe I'll reach at this place. Then me, I'll start video calling you to tell you, say that, oh, I'm here. I came to the place where you told me, and I'll video call to show the area where I am. Or maybe if I'm lost, I'll tell you, I'll show you the picture of where I am. And that becomes easier to trace each other. So this technology has really helped us in a very, very good way. And we see that the deaf people, they really love the phone very much. It's because of the technology progress. So that's why this technology, it's really helping even in families. Yeah, families, when they are signing, they don't know how to sign. They will start talking. A deaf person alone will just be there because they don't know sign language. And you see, they'll be playing with their phones on Facebook, TikTok, and other social media, so to say, platform. Yeah. So now you said that sometimes lecturers, they could be voicing you, speaking without even sign language interpreting. So these phones, they have helped us, a lot of deaf, even to handle their assignments. They'll use their phones, where there is a lecturer and there is a deaf person who cannot understand. There is a software, there's an app which I can install. And then I send it to the students or even the group somewhere where I'm able to get whatever that the lecturer was saying. And it's reading, it's writing. So a person will be able to understand what the lecturer has been teaching. So all in all, because of technology's improvement, as the deaf people, we've been helped a lot. And remember that as the deaf people, accessibility to information is so hard. So we depend on more on the technology. Yeah. ACL died. How did we know it? Because of social media. You, the hearing, you heard the ECL has died through TV. Or maybe someone talking or others are talking about it, so that the former president has died. But us, we never heard of anything. Yeah. So we never even knew the important, like he was sick, this had happened, or whatever had happened. Sometimes maybe you find that if you don't have a phone, you just hear it maybe even after the burial has been done. Look at that. So meaning the information is spread so fast to you, but to us it's difficult.
Thank you very much, my brother. Yeah, thank you for your explanation. And I'm going to adapt. Okay, so viewers, feel free to participate and you can comment to our program here. So I'm going to ask you the other question about how do you feel, how well do you think businesses and organizations understand deaf people, accessibility issues, what improvement are needed?
So before I say that, let us push for sign language. So let the bill, let it become a law, so that when it becomes a law, for sure, the deaf people will live in a comfort life, and where that anyone knows sign language. So, but as it stands now, it's very difficult. Even me, for sure, I find it so challenging in this way. When I go to India, Indian shop to buy soap, or maybe the groceries, yeah, the Indians, their behavior, they will just be there looking at someone. You, what do you want? You, what do you want? What do you want? You know, you bypass, you go in front there of the counter there. You know, you try to explain. It's very difficult for them to understand. Why? Themselves, they don't pay attention if you are repeating because you are deaf. They are not interested. They are interested of those who are paying. You see? So now you are just deaf person who are just there signing. You know, they don't pay much attention. Yeah. So when you talk about business people, yeah, it's so challenging because these business people, many of the times, they are always there to work. They don't pay attention to that. So it's very important that we let sign language bill being amended and assigned in the Constitution, being approved, so that in school from grade 1 until universities, people can start learning sign language. And also in organizations, yeah, the areas we need to advocate. Yeah, where the problem is, the positive and the negativities, despite all those, we need to try. It's very important. Accessibility to information should be always there, and it's very big. Yeah, so the deaf people, they must have that information or accessibility to information.
Thank you very much for your explanation. For staff in public and private sector to better support deaf individuals?
Sign language. I can say sign language, and that is it. You know, sign language is the only cancer we have. Yeah. So deaf people, wherever they go, they will need to use sign language. For example, in church, if there is no interpreter, the deaf people cannot go to church. To do what? You go somewhere, maybe to visit a relative who doesn't know sign language. We don't go there. A friend who don't know sign language, we can't go there. Everywhere, as we need sign language to be there. Yeah, sign language must be there. Yeah.
Thank you very much, my brother. And now we'll talk about police and advocacy. So, what current policy or laws do you think can promote deaf accessibility, and where do you see gaps?
To deaf, huh? You mean to deaf? To deaf only?
Yes, to deaf, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so me, I think want to inform you that me, with the other deaf group, yeah, I'm one of the deaf advocates for implementation of 10% salary or allocation of persons with disabilities. Yeah. So it's been there, we've been advocating it, and it was so quiet. Yeah. In the Disability Active, that was the Article 6 of 2012. Yeah. So the government must allocate a 10% for persons with disabilities. So we advocated for that. That is under PF government. And for sure, they accepted that, and we saw that being implemented. And this was so much. Yeah. So we thank the government now, under the new Dawn, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to make sure that the opportunities for the deaf persons with disabilities, there are now a lot. And accessibilities, government opportunities, private sectors, everywhere should be there. And it makes sure that we've seen it being active. Yeah. So yeah, accessibility in PF was there. Yeah. Now we're able to see CEEC. Yeah, it's there. CDF. They are able to get, you know, the professions that are being taught in health and other disabilities. Yeah. So those areas, so us we really feel we're benefiting well and we have much accessibility to it.
Thank you. Thank you for your great explanation. So now we are going to talk about
Yeah.
policies. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Some deaf are happy and others are not happy. And especially the old, the old people. Yeah. We live in the world of politics where every people, they support different things. It's not easier. Yeah, the president can do good, but if you are in politics, you don't benefit anything, you see something, negativity in it. So, yeah, the president and everything is working well. Us, we are happy. Yeah, to me, I'm happy.
Thank you very much. Now, thank you very much, viewers. So now we are going to be on a commercial break. Stay tuned.
So we'll go for.
Welcome back. We still discussing about our program. So the question is, how can advocates for deaf rights be strengthened at the community or national level?
It's so fun, Yeah. The deaf rights is so strong. Only sign language bill should be signed. Yeah. If they allow sign language and that one has been approved, then, sign language, once it's not approved, that's why we are weak. And that disease is going to continue. The weakness will continue. So now we can't participate in the leadership or anything. Yeah. So if let's say we are to stand as a councillor, MP, people we mingle with, they will look at me, and then, there are professors who don't even know sign language, So as our human rights at the moment, it's so weak. So that's why I'm saying that it's better first sign language has been, if it's approved. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And now, I want you to explain or describe the experience you have had in a public places, like in a restaurant or the government offices. Yeah, so maybe in a government or restaurant?
There are many things when it comes to public places, and very fun at times. Why am I saying that? Let's say if we go to eat in the place, maybe a hotel or maybe a restaurant, people there who don't know about deaf, people say don't know about deaf sometimes, so they will try when you are eating. At the same time, people, they say a funny thing, and maybe women, they'll start maybe, let's say, admiring me, and behind they'll be gossiping, and then they'll say, "Ish, this man is so beautiful, handsome, but now why is he deaf like that?" I have a lot of those experiences, and you see, it's really been happening. But some other experiences must be in the communities. When I was growing up, the time I became now deaf, I found it more challenging. It was so discriminating when it comes to, and the discrimination was coming from home. And the other, that is the community where I grew from. I saw even on the national level also, the discrimination is still there. At home level, yes, some families there where they could even gossip about me because I'm deaf and I cannot hear them. Because I can't hear anything. So they could laugh, they could say all those sort of things. And others, they could inform me, say, "No, Moses Soko, I'll beat Moses Soko, or Moses Soko will beat you." But you see, to me, they were hindering me because I could not get anything. The second is the family is so hard to accept the disability of deafness that I had. So you see, so deaf people of over 12 years, you find that someone is 20 years, but someone is in grade 4 or grade 2. So because they have not accepted, and that disability is something not accepted well in the family setup. So it's one of those hindering on the right when it comes to the communities. So we have friends, sometimes those same friends will do something wrong. Maybe they'll steal, or maybe they'll start up a fight. They will defend themselves. In doing that, they will shift the blame on you who is deaf. Or maybe they will point at me, "Moses Soko stole, Moses did this, Moses did," because me, I'm deaf and I cannot defend myself, so vulnerable. So but sometimes when we go to play football, we could go to play football, and I could even explain to say that, I was young and I was so, don't look at this belly I have and how my body is. I used to be slim and I could play nice football. So others, they could say, "No, we can't. Better you will become a substitute because you are deaf, you can't hear anything." But you find that me, I would have scored, it's 2-0 already, and those 2 goals are my goals, but they want to substitute me because me, I'm deaf. Look at that. So the discrimination has been there from the communities. So I've really passed through a lot in that way. So my brought up became, and also as I grew up old, I've been so advocating even on national level. So people, they think that the deaf people, they are mad somehow. There's a sense which has been missed in them. And also, as we love fighting, because we are too short-tempered, or that is our nature. No. So if maybe they will say, "No, you want to bring your friend who is deaf here, he's just going to fight because our one short tempers." But similarly, so we cannot have that in the family. Others they could think, since I'm deaf, I can't start a family, I can't marry, and I can't make it in life to have a wife. People, they say, "No, we can't visit his house because his wife is deaf, himself is deaf, so how are we going to communicate with him?" So all those sort of things have been there.
Thank you very much. And I'll ask you again, how do you assess the current state of deaf accessibility in educational institution? What best practice have you seen?
A long way. Yeah, the long run. I've seen. I'm a believer of inclusive education. Yeah, I hate special education. Yeah. So, and the accessibility, it's been so hard. When we say special education, it's bad. We say inclusive. So true, we accept it. Inclusive education is different, and we've seen it so different. There is deaf community, deaf clubs, they are different. And now we try to integrate the two. Now, where we say that the deaf people, they have got good behavior, and the same as the people without deafness, and they will understand the deaf culture and their behavior very well. But now, you and I, when we say special education, this word, special education, before, people think I cannot succeed in education. So this now comes like, you cannot do, you need that special attention. Yeah. For example, when I became deaf, it was the time when, there were two schools, Lusaka girls and Desai, yeah. So sometimes, it was so poor. So special education, it will mean a deaf who is the special school, and that it will mean like you need to be sent somewhere far, So, me, I was an orphan, we were poor, and I cannot afford to go to those special schools. And it was so difficult. At the end of it, I felt to complete my school, my education those days. Yeah. So now when you say inclusive education, me, I would prefer to use inclusive education, because I know even if I'm deaf, I belong there. No one can remove me there. It's an integration that we will make for the hearing learners, and also to learn the deaf culture and also sign language. So these together, they become one. So when you say special education, sometimes it breaks even families. Yeah. It breaks family. So children, for example, look at this. Families, they'll have maybe 7 children. 6 of them, they are hearing. And they only have a deaf one, who is one. And this one has been sent to Eastern Province Maguero Special School. You see, for over 3 months. Food and everything will be sent. Whilst these who are at home who are not deaf, they will be doing deaf schooling. They will be there to enjoy the company of their father, parental care, they will have it. But me, who is deaf, who has been sent to far schools, maybe in Eastern Maguero, I will not even enjoy. I'll come back here, stay maybe 2-3 weeks, I go back. Sometimes, families, they could even hide it in private. Children, deaf who are children, to hide them, they would rather send them in boarding schools. It's more like you put garbage in the bin and then you throw it away. That's how it has been in the family, because some they've been feeling shy to expose their children. So they would rather send them in boarding school so that they are not exposed to other people. So we are advocating for inclusive education, not special education.
Thank you. That was wonderful explanation. And the way you are signing, like I can see you are signing very great. And the question is, what changes would you like to see maybe in 5 years regarding in deaf accessibility?
So the change that I want to see in the next 5 years, okay, in many ways. For example, me, I want to see deaf becomes Wikipedias, or becomes the members of in the cabinet members, so to say. In the communities, deaf people have to participate. Yeah, deaf people have to be there. Yeah. So in many areas, deaf people need to participate in all sectors, so to say. In all the actors, there must be famous, there must be deaf people in all of that. So we can only make it happen if sign language has been approved in government and accepted inclusive education.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, so okay, so I'll repeat the question. What changes would you like to see in 5 years regarding with the deaf accessibility, or how do you feel?
I feel so happy, for example, in deaf communities, we have changes. Generation has been there. We have maybe this generation, and then at the same time, if they want maybe a second generation, third generation, the two generations, there should be there, and there must be a third generation. So the third one, sorry, not to say generation, siblings, so to say, yeah. So the first and second and the fifth one should be better than all the four siblings. Why? I'm so happy, I'll be so happy as an old person, I'll be so happy to see that we continue to depend on them.
Thank you very much. So the other question is, how do you envision the role of community organization in enhancing accessibility in deaf individuals?
Okay. Accepting sign language. That is it. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Where people accept sign language, meaning deaf people who have accessibility everywhere. Yeah. So it's only about the organization, but also churches they must make sure. It's my hope that in the next 5 years time, churches, they should have sign language interpretation. Yeah. We not only sign language interpretation, but also sign language should be there so that every member is able to communicate with the deaf people. Maybe offer the greetings and make us feel at church. Yeah. So that's where a lot of deaf people are going to be saved. Not only we say no accessibility in organization, clubs, even in churches there must be. Yeah.
Oh, so thank you very much. Now you see some people, maybe they support deaf people or they advise deaf people. How can you support deaf people in the community to join, to be together? How can you support that?
On that, it's only to see deaf people also on all levels being accepted as human beings, to be treated like human beings. So when you're supporting, don't do it with sympathy or maybe say just because me I'm deaf. No, respect the deaf people. Sure, if you feel that they are deaf people like that and the humans, at the same time we must also learn the deaf culture. Yeah, deaf culture and how deaf people live, how do they behave. Yeah, it's very good to know that. So we have different cultures, maybe with the different of disabilities.
So how can the general public better understand and respect the needs of deaf individuals in their daily interactions?
Yeah, anyway, the question is like we have talked before. So as I say, you know, it's all the same thing. We want to see the deaf people as human beings, not to see us as disabled people, no. You know, we are deaf people, we are just normal and equal like to anyone who is able to hear. So we don't need, we are no inferior to other human beings, no. We welcome that. That's why we welcome anyone to join us in the clubs for the deaf and everything. So what to do is everything, you feel so free. Yeah. What we want to see is there is equality on humans, yeah, not like others.
Thank you very much. Now I want you to adapt your own ideas on this program before we close.
So the word of conclusion is I would want to thank this program, and I would want to thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed, yeah, I've enjoyed this so much. And viewers there, yeah, a lot of time, a lot of the viewers, you know, they know me, businesses, they do somewhere there. And please find time to watch this TV. And since you found time to watch it, I'm so glad. And also as a father, a deaf father, please support the deaf children. Yeah, your children who are deaf, they are children, and they are humans just like you. Please, if you want to take them to school, let them go to school, because in future they are going to keep you and they are going to build a good reputation in the future, in the coming process.
Thank you very much. So we thank you all for your time and participation to participate on our show. We look forward to other interesting moments to come. Thank you. Viewers, we appreciate you for your continued support on our platforms. I'm your, on behalf of the entire production crew, I have been your presenter for today, Brian Kachizi, with my sign language interpreter. See you next time, same time and same place. Thank you.